Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee. Now in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Bad Monkey Overdrive. Now I've already done a video on this with the Pedal to the Metal series. That series is designed to see what distortion sounds we can get using the individual pedal as the main foundation of the sound. So what I thought would be really cool and kind of a bit of an assistant for this pedal is let's see how much we can actually also like pimp the sound using this pedal. So I've mic'd up, I've done the double mic technique in my speaker cabinet to the other room, which I set up earlier, and I've got my orange Dark Terror ready to rock with that. So what I thought would be cool is let's get a decent distortion sound happening with the Dark Terror, and let's see how this works with that distortion sound rather it being like a sole entity, and see how you can differently utilize this pedal. And what I also thought would be a cool idea too is use some of these EQs on the microphone set up out there too to see if that can help shape the sounds instead of 100% revolving around just the two, well in this case with this pedal, the two EQ knobs that we have here for the low and highs. The good thing is I can't remember how these low and highs reacted. So I'm kind of going in semi-fresh. If I remember correctly, I think I had to really push the gain on this to get any oomph. So now that we're pushing most of the gain out of the amp, I'm really excited to see how much we need to push the gain here and how that ratio works as an assistant to an already distorted sound rather than purely off this. So yeah, first thing I'm going to do is we'll find a nice distorted sound out of this. Then we'll add this to it. I'll try my best to line up the second camera I've got so you can see both, but no promises. I'll just try my best. Then I'll take a bit of a step away, compose a little song, because all my videos I like to have a quick jam. Then I'll have a jam along, doubling up on the guitars, adding bass and drums, and then we'll have a lovely chat about it at the end for my final thoughts. So let's get stuck into it and see how this goes. All right, so now I set everything up as best as what I could, so hopefully you can see everything. So this is part of the video where I normally go, this is what it sounds like before I turn anything on, but because it's not going directly through the computer, we have no sound. So let's start with dialing. In a nice distortion. So what I've got is I've got the two mics set up in the other room going into my mixing desk, and there's one signal coming out. So they're being joined together to give me one end signal. So to give you an example before I move on with the pedal of what each mic sounds like, here is one of them. So that's my E609, and this is the SM57. Both together. So I'll come up with a bit of a blend later on. If you haven't seen my double mic technique video. I highly recommend you check that out because that video runs into detail of how I mix the two and why I do them a certain way. But now I've got a decent distortion. Let's get this pedal happening. Oh, hello, Piper. She wants to play fetch again. There you go. All right. Get that pedal on. I'll roll back a bit of the gain on the amp just to give that a bit more of a chance to shine. So now if I turn it off, what are we running with? Give it a bit more gain. I keep that 12 o'clock, that just muffles everything when I go higher. If you want an example of what a hollow distortion sounds like, there's just no body to it. So I'll definitely add those lows back in. Much better. Sounding really good. So let's just listen to each mic individually. Let's just try shape on the orange. It's actually sounding not too bad. I don't think I need to touch any of the EQs really on the microphones. I mean, there's always an argument that you could, and you could always push more and continually tweak and add more things and try to clean things up and all that. But for the purpose of this video, which is seeing how the Bad Monkey handles with the Dark Terror compared to going just directly into the studio, I think this is a good sound that we're getting. So when we went straight into the studio, we had a pure clean signal happening. And at the moment, this is a signal that we've got running through the amp. Turn it on. So straight away I noticed that the pedal, we've got the low dialed back a little bit, really does take the low and the high away from the signal that we've got set on the orange Dark Terror. So that's really cool. That is really, really cool. So from what I remember from the pedal to the metal video, this EQ is a hell of a lot more effective in this setup compared to going direct in of what we did before. Turn it off. And turn it back on. Yes. So we do lose a bit of volume whenever we turn the pedal on, but I haven't pushed the level that high. I've kind of just left it at 12 o'clock. That's nor here or there. It doesn't really matter that much at all. The only other thing is blending in the microphones now. So let's quickly do that before I move on to writing a quick song for it. I could be here for a very, very long time, just constantly adjusting those two levels. And if this was an album recording or an EP recording or something along those lines, I'd be like jotting down the settings, recording, going backwards and forwards and doubling up and seeing which ones mix and blend in the best for whatever song that's been recorded. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to stop because it doesn't sound bad. And as I said, I could get caught here for a long, long time, just getting my engineering hat just stuck on and not being able to move on. So let's not get caught in that little loop. So I'm going to take a little bit of time out, write a little groove, perform it and record it in front of the camera. We'll share it. What I'll also do is I'll also bring up the other Bad Monkey little segment that I did as well, so we can do a side-by-side comparison as well, just to give this pedal a real decent shout out. And then we'll have a chat about it afterwards. So, see you all on the other side. Time now for my final thoughts on the Bad Monkey, running it through my Dark Terror and miking it up compared to going direct. So I put them back to back to get a bit of a comparison, and now going back to the old one, I remembered that the EQ, I wasn't happy with going in direct, as in going straight into the computer, and I had to use my Savage Drive pedal to help boost and clean it up a lot, and that made a huge difference, where I didn't need that at all going straight through this Dark Terror. The EQ, and also too, just going through each one of them from left to right, the level, I didn't have to push it that hard going through here, which is understandable. This is an amplifier, so it amplifies it for you. Where when I had to go in direct beforehand, when I did the pedal to the metal video, I had to really crank the level to get more of its characteristics happening. The EQ is kind of the same. They definitely work differently, but I pretty much rolled off the same lows and added the same highs slightly. A little bit of variance. I didn't push as much high before compared to now. But I felt like these are a lot easier to work with and a lot more efficient and effective working with the Dark Terror EQ. The gain, I didn't have to push the gain nowhere near as much nor did I have to push the gain too high on this either. So I rolled back the gain on this and didn't have to push as much gain here, and still got a nice clean and pretty clear distortion sound at the end, compared to when I did the pedal to the metal, where I had to push the gain nearly full, if not full, if I remember correctly, to get enough oomph out of it. So this pedal, in my opinion, is 40 times better running it through your own speaker cab and amp. So working it more as an assistant to help emphasize your already cool distortion sound, rather than it being the foundation distortion sound, if you're trying to approach it that way. So the tunes that I came up with, yeah, I really liked. Like, I kind of rolled back a little bit on the low end, because I could have easily done it either EQing it through the mics or even just adding a little bit more through here. But I really liked the bite and the cut through it had without the bottom end, and it really gave the bass guitar a chance to really help emphasize and push it all in the mix. But in saying that, because I didn't alter the lead patch much with this, because I wanted to see how it fitted in just as it was. The lead patch really lacked a bit. I added a delay to it afterwards just to give it a little bit something more, because I kind of felt like beforehand it was just way too dry. And as much as I like to normally keep it pretty raw, with this one I was like, you know what, we're mucking around with this and mixing the different mics and everything. I'm going to add a delay to the lead patch, and I didn't have the lead pumping anyway, so I don't really feel like it altered the mix enough to make it seem like I'm fooling anyone. I think we can all clearly still hear the results of all the different takes that I did. Yeah. I got a lot more punch out of it this time compared to when I did the pedal to the metal. And there's a lot more enjoyment too. A lot more enjoyment. I think I doodled around a lot more with it when I was dialing in the tone, just because they were all sounding pretty decent. And I didn't, well, as you saw, like I didn't have to touch much to really get it happening. And yeah, the settings that I've kind of left on here as a reference while I'm talking to you, I didn't push it that hard at all, because it really didn't need it to get a really good sound. And I also, when I did the song, I made sure I did a few different styles of guitaring for it. Not as in musical styles, but as in the intro I did very soft, and then I gave it a lot more oomph, and it organically just sounded more louder and more aggressive. So it didn't kill the characteristics of a guitar player, if that makes sense. Because some distortions that you can get, especially fuzzy ones, they just take the guitar player's characteristics out of the equation. No matter how they play, it just gives you the one straight signal out. Where this, there was still lots of breathing room to have your own characteristics pop through, which I think is extremely important when capturing a distortion sound. So that's why I went soft to start with, then I gave it a bit more, then I did some quick stop starts, just to, not only because it inspired me to do that, but also to show the versatility with one patch that we put through here, how much we could actually do with it. So they're all real nice positive ticks there, which is good. And as a conclusion, I much enjoyed running this through my Dark Terror compared to just going direct. The sounds that I was getting were a lot better, and it was just a lot more enjoyable working with. A lot easier too, even though it took a hell of a lot more time miking everything up and setting up at first. But once I actually got to doodling around with it and playing with it, yeah, a lot easier and a lot quicker. So in saying that, what were your thoughts? How did you feel while I was toning it in? Because I was dealing with the shape a bit and trying to balance the gain coming from the amp head compared to the gain coming from the pedal. So how did you feel? Do you feel like I should have pushed this more and dialed back more on the amp, or vice versa? Do you think I should have taken a little bit more away from the amp and dialed more through the pedal? How do you feel about the two now that you've heard them all? And also too, if you really enjoy this one, I highly recommend you go check out my pedal to the metal, how I dial it in without the assistance of an extra amp head with its EQs and characteristics to work with, and the two mics that have their own characteristics, which I could kind of blend as well. Because I feel like they were two completely different journeys with two very different results. Or do you think the opposite? Do you think the results are pretty hard to tell the difference between, for lack of a better term? Am I just overreacting again? Did I make life a hell of a lot harder adding all this stuff to it for when the results weren't worth it? Yeah, definitely keen to hear your feedbacks, what you think. And in that saying, I'll do my usual sign-off. So whether this video is in the foreground or the background, I definitely appreciate your company. If you could please let your friends know about this video and all my other videos on my channel in general, that will definitely be muchly appreciated too. Every like, comment, and time you share it helps this channel really grow. And it also helps me guide where I can take this channel and which videos work and which ones don't. So yeah, let's keep this conversation going. So until next time, please stay safe.